Hello, I am giving a 32-week update. I guess it's 31 and 32 on how things are going. And it's actually my last day of work today before I start my maternity leave, so it's a pretty big day. Also had a little bit of an incident last night, so I will share a little bit of that and just kind of give a little bit of an update. So 31, 32 weeks, pretty much the same. No new symptoms other than the fact I got a pretty terrible cold over the weekend. As you can tell, it's still there. Um, just fighting that. I know it's not COVID. Thankfully, we haven't had any fevers, but both my husband and I have had it. Garrett had it a little bit. I think he actually gave it to us. And then my poor mom has it now too. So we've all just been pretty sniffly and dealing with just being extra tired. Um, but yeah, I think there's been not a whole lot. Last week, 31 weeks, I went to the downtown office for my scan with all three babies. We had to do a test, an ultrasound where they just looked at breathing, tone. I think it's called a BPP, breathing, tone, and I think they just looked at overall tummy size and things like that, and just to make sure everybody passed. And they all did great. Took a little extra time. It was a new office that I hadn't been to before, so that was a little bit challenging. Navigating downtown, kind of getting where I needed to go, making sure I had plenty of time. Wasn't too bad, but I had to do it by myself because that day was when Grant was feeling the worst and really stayed in bed all day. So it wasn't awful. We got it done and I had plenty of time to spare. Babies were all looking good. We didn't do growth that week, but then this week I had my scan on what day was it? Wednesday. Everybody's looking good. Actually, should pull up the weights because I want to make sure I get it right. Let's see. Um, and I'm trying to see if I'll find it. But everybody was right around low fours, 4 pounds. And the only issue, baby B, so again, A and B are the twins, and C is the girl. She's by herself. They're all kind of stacked now, more like a hot dog, up and down hot dog versus a hamburger. But A and B are the boys. B's tummy was measuring a little bit behind. He was fine. He's in like the 77th percentile of weight. But his tummy was under the 10th percentile, and they said when that happens, they like to look at the umbilical cord and make sure the blood flow is going well. So checked that out, and it wasn't bad, but it wasn't great. And so we checked that out. They said we'll check it again next week. The only thing that could change is that we would deliver at 34 weeks instead of 36 weeks. And just to be extra cautious to make sure next week that the growth is looked at. And then also had a little, high blood pressure when I was at the appointment. And so yesterday, they told me to check my blood pressure, make sure everything was going okay. So I did that at lunchtime and a couple more times, and it was over 140 each time. And that's the threshold that my doctor said to call. So I called around 8 o'clock, called the labor and delivery, paged the physician on call. They said to come in, which I probably figured that would be what would happen. They just wanted to monitor, make sure everything was okay. So we had our dry run of throwing stuff in a bag, going to the hospital. Um, it was really, honestly, easy. No issues parking because at 9 o'clock is actually when we ended up getting there. Not very many cars, so we were able to park and get in there pretty simply. It's a good like 10-minute walk from the parking garage to the um, labor and delivery floor, so I was a little winded by the time we got there. And of course, they wanted to take my blood pressure right away, but things were back down. They actually did monitoring. They hooked monitors up to the belly. They did about 20 minutes. They called it a non-stress test to make sure the babies would all pass after 20 minutes, and they all did. They were kicking the monitors. They were doing really, really well. And my blood pressure had gone back down. So really it was almost a false alarm, but everybody kept saying it was a good thing that we went in just to make sure. I would have hated to, have something be wrong and me just kind of say, I'll go tomorrow if it's worse. So now we just check it once a day. I haven't checked it yet today. But the only risk is, if it's elevated again, we go back in, they do the same kind of tests. They did some blood work, and everything got pretty fine. I haven't gotten a call or anything that they're worried. Um, but it was a good little practice run of going to the hospital. Thankfully, my mom was able to, she was here helping get Garrett ready for bed, and she just kind of stayed here until we came back. We were home before midnight, which was nice. So didn't get a ton of sleep, but I don't get sleep anyway, so it's not anything new. Um, and then today, just been kind of taking it easy. Definitely swelling a little more than I have in the past, trying to lower my salt intake a little bit to try to see if that helps. Just taking it easy. And I think that, today being my last day working is probably a really good thing because then I can really just relax a little bit and, try to keep blood pressure down and all that good stuff. So yeah, there's not much happening. That was kind of the big excitement of the week. Grant did get to go on Wednesday to the scan, so that was nice. He got to see the babies. It's a whole different world when you're looking at 32-week babies on ultrasound versus littler ones. You can't really see everybody, and you just kind of see a foot here and there. Um, but it's always nice to see them and just know that everybody's in there doing a good job. Um, so it's really just waiting time. We did see a different doctor this week who was a little bit more on team 34-week delivery versus my other doctor who's talking more about doing 36 weeks. And so at my appointment next week with my normal doctor, I'll do the scan, check out the umbilical cord blood, make sure everything is flowing right. And I guess it's his call whether or not we decide to deliver early. So if we do 34 weeks, we're 2 weeks away. If we do 36, we've got 4 weeks to prep. So it's, I'm happy with either. They've been in cooking pretty well. I think if we made it even this far, it's a success. So um, this weekend, long weekend, we'll have Garrett home, have just some family time. I can't do a whole lot, so it's not like it's that exciting. Our pool open, so hopefully the weather will stay nice and I can float a little bit. The hip pain and pelvis pain, I sound like a broken record, but are really the things that are causing me the most discomfort. And then babies pushing out. It's like they decide to, stick their butts straight out, and then I have these mounds on either side of me. And that gets a little uncomfortable. Braxton Hicks are happening a little more frequently. Doctor said all of that's completely normal. I have maybe 3 to 5 contractions a day. Some are Braxton Hicks, some feel real. But it's more pressure than anything else. Not anything that's freaking me out. Um, but yeah, next week I'll be off and start kind of nesting. I have a neighborhood friend that's going to come over and help organize some of the amazing baby clothes people have been sharing with us, and just kind of get things in order so that when babies come, we'll feel a little bit more prepared. We had pizza with our nanny that's starting in September. Got to know him a little bit better because everything had been done over the phone. So we had him over this week. And Garrett is just obsessed with him, which is the cutest thing. It's just neat to have kind of that male nanny energy. I think he'll be a good fit with our family. And it's just, everything's falling into place. And again, yesterday, even when we were in the hospital, they're like, wow, you're doing a really good job. Like, I kind of almost apologized for being too easy. I was like, try not to make it crazy, but, the blood pressure thing, we just need to keep an eye on it and keep things easy. So yeah, that's really all that's going on. I will show the bump a little bit. I'm wearing a big Moo Moo dress today, um, but it's very big. Lots of baby in there. So we've got B, A, and C, or A and B switch places, so it's hard to tell who's where, but lots of baby. Pretty excited for them to come out and have my body back at some point, but for now I want to keep them in there cooking. So that's my update. Thanks. Bye.